Hello world, Shelly here, and it's time for your Friday Foundation Fix, where you can get your fix of foundation reviews in between foundation fests. And today we are checking out from the drugstore side of the fence, the JCat Beauty AquaSurance Foundation retails for $13.99. You get 0.31 ounces of product. This is also available online at Ulta's website. This is getting 3.9 out of 5 stars with just about 100 reviews. Comes in 13 different shades. I have the second lightest shade, Ivory. And if I check the claims here, it says that this compact foundation contains a finely milled formula that minimizes the appearance of pores. This innovative hydrating powder is non-clogging, absorbs and balances excess oil without looking cakey. It has a water lock system to maintain moisture within the powder, and which cannot be found in an average compact. Okay. Blends effortlessly, medium to full coverage for a flawless finish, and the sponge that's included in the compact is antibacterial. One of the really strange things on Ulta's website is that there's this little, in the how to use section, they say prep your skin with a hydrating primer. They recommend theirs, of course. Apply this. You can use this wet or dry. If you want medium to full coverage, use it wet with a damp sponge. They have a ton of typos in their content here. And then at the end, it says precautions. Please read ingredient list. So I'm like, oh my God, what's in the ingredient list? Mica, talc, silica, dimethicone, and a bunch of flower extracts are the things that jumped out at me. So if you have a sensitivity to natural ingredients like plant extracts, that may be something to be concerned about. I don't see any additional added fragrance in this product. So that is that. JCat, according to FIRA's cruelty-free brands list, is a cruelty-free brand. So that is where we are starting out. I am going to use this damp, and let's check out the swatches of this AquaSurance compared to a few others in my collection. Let's swatch. First up is today's foundation, the JCat AquaSurance in the second lightest shade, Ivory. Next, I've got the Wet n Wild Photo Focus in Shell Ivory. Third up is the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Glow in 201 Classic Ivory. Fourth is the CYO Life Proof in 101. And last up, I've got the Revlon Photo Ready Candid in shade 130. I've already cleansed, moisturized, and sunscreened my face. I'm dealing with some sunspots here. I do have large pores on my cheeks. I've got some fine lines in my forehead, my smile lines, some texture between my eyebrows, more texture on this side of my face. 44-year-old face here, starting out with, I have normal to dry skin. My skin is inching toward normal, still a little bit dry, dehydrates pretty easily this time of year, so I definitely do need moisture. I have primed with the NYX Hydra Touch because they recommended a hydrating primer, and this is one that works very well for me. The compact here is your typical compact. You've got the wet to dry powder, and then underneath the little storage container for the sponge. I usually just use my damp beauty sponge for compact foundations, and that is what I will do today. So let's dig in, shall we? This is not at all what I expected in a very good way. There is some serious coverage here. I would call this medium right out of the gate. The only sunspots I can still see are the darkest ones that I've got. It's definitely got coverage. It is definitely smoothing. It is definitely blurring pores, even on my nose. The only caveat I would say is that if you haven't blended your, like, I've got some sunscreen that was right along my hairline, and when your powder comes in contact with a little blob of sunscreen like that, it cakes up immediately. So make sure you've got all of your skincare really blended out, especially along the hairline. Let me see if I can fix that area that I messed up. Seriously, yo? Yes. Okay. I see you. My only concern, it looks a little dry on my forehead, like I can see all my micro lines. We'll see, we'll see. Now, there's really no other way to apply this, so I'm just going to keep going on the other side of my face. Like, bam, look at that. interesting product. I think it looks like a beautiful, smooth matte finish, with the exception of a couple spots right on my temples where it's a little bit wonky because I had not my primer or skincare were just a little bit damp still, but I think that can be alleviated by just making sure your skincare is totally set into your skin and dried down before you go in with this product. But let's take a look up close. I think the coverage is fantastic. It is definitely a medium coverage. I don't see really any redness or uneven skin, poking through. Just the darkest of my dark spots are still visible, but very nice medium coverage. I've got some flaking skin on my nose, which I don't understand because I don't put my skincare on my nose except moisturizer. But it's really not accentuating those flakes. You can still see the flakes because obviously they're there. But I'm really impressed with how smooth my nose looks. And everything is just very smoothing, very blurring. My forehead looks a little bit dry, like I can kind of see more micro lines than I can normally see. But other than that, I am really, really liking the finish of this. For a matte on dry skin, this looks really nice. If their claims about hydration are true, then this is kind of going to blow me away. We will see how it wears, of course. My day involves going to the apartment to finish cleaning up so that I can hand in my keys, and so there may be a little sweat involved. We'll see how that goes. Having a powder-based product on my face, we'll find out. But let's check the time. It is 1:23 p.m. Let me go put the rest of my makeup on. I'll be right back. Okay, my greatest fears have come true. So I'm wearing the Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define Concealer. This is one of my favorite full coverage concealers. And since we had such high coverage going on, I figured we're going to go with a good coverage today. And my fear was that putting a liquid product on top of what is pretty much a powder product was going to cause the usual, which is caking up, gunking up, not oxidizing, but darkening along the line where like wet touches dry. And well, my concealer is a hot mess. This was nearly impossible. Oh, my mirror keeps turning on. Sorry about that weird lighting. This was nearly impossible to apply without it looking cakey and crazy, because every bit where it touched any of the powder, it just caked up. So same issue with the powder and, any moisture from any skincare or primer. So I don't really know how you resolve that other than not wear concealer or use the powder foundation up under your eyes as your concealer. But this was really, really tough to get looking nice. The other thing that's going on is it's kind of a mask. Once it sets down, if you have any spot where you accidentally remove product, you're going to see bare skin, and then, it looks like a thick cake of product. It doesn't look cakey on the skin, but you notice how cakey it is if you accidentally remove some product. So like applying the concealer, there were spots where I would, remove some of the foundation, and then I see bare skin underneath. And the result you get in those areas, especially here, is like monster skin. You know how when you have fake scarring and fake injury to your skin, and you put that gooey stuff on top to give you texture where your skin ripped away? Yeah, that's kind of what it looks like, which is not super cute. I'm not sure you can really tell at a conversational distance, but it's happening. So the other thing, this felt immediately so drying on my skin. My skin felt like the moisture's going, tight, like dry. So I did go in and set it with the Catrice, what is this called? Prime and Fine, the Dewy Glow Fixing Spray. That helped a little bit, but I'm already starting to feel dry again. So I don't know where the hydration they claim is happening, because I've got all my super hydrating moisturizers underneath, but my skin feels like the life is being sucked out of it. It doesn't look so much like so, maybe a little bit, you know, the way my crow's feet usually don't come out until my skin is getting dried out and dehydrated, but we're gonna see. Like, I think where we're at right now is this can be made to look gorgeous and it can be made to look horrific. And it's all in your technique. So we are going to go ahead and wear this and see where it takes us on the rest of my face. Oh, I missed you so, L'Oreal True Match. This is the Lumi Bronze It. I love this stuff so much. It's just so pretty. And my blush is the e.l.f. Primer Infused Blush in Always Rosy. Dug out an old school Physicians Formula Butter Highlighter in Pearl. I've not worn this one in a hot minute. These are so good. My eyes, I filmed this eye look, and I don't know if you will have already seen it or if it's coming soon, but it is the BH Cosmetics Royal Affair palette. This is so pretty. It's just a pretty, pretty, pretty palette. And that's about all the excitement. Oh, my lip is a combination of, I put on the Melania Mori Shine in Charming, then I blotted that off a bit just so that I could go in with some glitter. Glitter. This is the Milani Stellar Lights Holographic Lip Gloss in the shade, it's number 6, Kaleidoscope Purple. So that is where we are starting out at. I will give you guys a daylight check-in in a bit, then I will come back tonight and give you guys my final thoughts. Hey guys, this is probably my last daylight check-in from the apartment, and we have pretty much full sun. So let me show you some sun, and then I'll move into a shady area. I've been sweating, packing up and cleaning and mopping floors and all of that. I haven't gotten a good look up close, but I have just been blotting and not wiping anything off. So I do think this is a good shade match for me. Here's my arm for comparison. And that's good because there's still a shade lighter than the one I've got. So if you are more pale than I am, let's see, can I find shade over here? No, but you can see this side of my face. I'm gonna go find some shade. Okay, here we go. Color match, daylight in the shade. I am a little bit flushed from sweating, so take that into account. There's the red face coming through, although it's mitigated quite a bit with foundation, so it's probably part of why I wear foundation. Teased mercilessly as a child. From a distance, I don't think it looks bad. So far, so good. At the 4-hour mark, I'll be back tonight with my final thoughts. 11:28 p.m. That puts us at just about 10 hours. Let's see how the JCat AquaSurance held up. Let me just say right off the bat, this is unlike anything I have ever worn. And while I thought throughout the day that my face felt really dry, as I'm looking at it up close now, I don't think my skin is dry. I think this is more like, okay, you know how when you put on one of those clay masks and it totally hardens up to the point where it's like cracking, but then you take it off and your skin is really soft underneath. Now, of course, I haven't taken this off, so I don't know if my skin is really soft underneath, but I think that's what the feeling I'm feeling is. I have felt this tightness all day in my skin, but it's not like, I don't think it's dry skin. I think it's this formula doing whatever it does when you apply it wet. And I think that's also why when you get water or sweat on it, pieces of it come off, kind of like when you flake off a piece of a clay mask like that. It is really strange. It's not particularly comfortable. I wouldn't call it uncomfortable, but it's noticeable. I feel it all day, my whole face. I feel like, kind of like I'm wearing a clay mask, but take that down 3 or 4 notches. It's not as severe as wearing a clay mask, but it's similar to that. It's really strange. Now, I put this through the paces. We've been wearing it for 10 hours, and I was doing a lot of physical activity. I wasn't pouring sweat. It's not like I was working out, but I would have a drip come down my face and I would blot it. I'd have a drip come down my forehead and I'd blot it. A couple times I felt drips on my nose and I just blotted them. And the areas where I blotted, it lifted up the foundation in those spots. So you're going to see not just missing coverage, but bare patches of skin, and surrounding that, the mask of the foundation. So this really does not look cute if you have to move around or sweat in any which way. But let's take a look up close and I'll show you what we're talking about here. So the wear off of coverage on my chin, I think, is just the usual wear off of coverage. Nothing really exciting happened. I didn't wipe my chin or anything like that. It's a little bit heavy around the movement areas of my mouth, and I think that's just the product sort of settling together, gunking up just a little bit. You can see on my nose the interesting pattern of where the paper towel I was blotting with lifted up the foundation, although the rest of my nose, where the foundation did not lift up, still looks quite smooth, but where it lifted up looks terrible. My blush bronzer highlight is mostly still intact. It has faded a little bit, and you can see on the sides of my face where some product has lifted up. You know, it almost looks like the fake monster skin, again, is just kind of the look it gives. Forehead, same thing. I'm missing coverage in the center, and I think that's where I had blotted my forehead. Same with the area around my hairline. Color-wise, I think this is a pretty good match for me. I think it might have gotten maybe a half shade darker throughout the day, but not super noticeably, not to the point where, you know, I can't even really tell where it came down my neck. So I think the color is a good match for me, and there is one shade more fair, so if you are more fair than I am, there may be a match for you. This one's just really interesting. It's really, really interesting. It's finicky to apply, but I think if you can apply it properly, you can get it to look really beautiful, as long as you don't plan on sweating or having any kind of, you know, massive physical activity. But the areas that held up well, I think held up very well. So I would say this is a fairly long wearing product if you're not going to put it through a rough day of activity. So, if I had to give a grade to the JCat Beauty AquaSurance, I am going to go B. I don't think it's very comfortable to wear on dry skin because you have that sensation that it's dry all day long. It didn't really settle into lines. It really did, for the most part, did a really good job of smoothing pores and texture. Just a little bit looked dry on my forehead, and that did seem to alleviate with the use of a little bit of setting spray. So it's kind of one of those things where it's finicky. It's a little too finicky to be an A in my book, but this is like an 80... like an 85B. We're just going to go smack dab in the middle of the B range with the JCat AquaSurance. It's interesting, and I would say if you can grab it on sale especially, try it out. You know, they only have, 13 shades. There's not a great shade range, but if you can find a match, it's interesting. I'll give it that. There you have it. Another Friday foundation fix is in the books. Let me know what foundations you guys would like to see in the comments down below. I keep a running list. You can always go on my website, geekoutofwater.com, click the Foundation Fest link. I've got a ranked, sortable, searchable spreadsheet of all the foundation reviews that I've ever done on this channel. Give me some time to get this one uploaded. I don't like to put spoilers in there, but that will allow you to see what I've done. You can see all the data, swipe that thing to the side, and click the link to see the full review if you want to watch it and see it on my face. All that good stuff. As always, thanks a lot for taking some time out of your day to geek out over makeup with me. Come back every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time for new videos. I appreciate your time, and I hope you guys all have an awesome day or night wherever you are in the world. Take care of each other. Bye-bye.